to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
It's the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, your destination for all things gardening, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, 850 some odd videos and a whole lot more, all for your viewing pleasure and educational purposes. Okay, so Earth Day is April 22nd. It's a national organized gathering to appreciate the Earth, I guess. Earth Day should be every day. It shouldn't just be one designated day during the year. It's much like in the Christian faith. Easter is celebrated because of what happens every Sunday, every day. Earth Day should be the same thing. We should recognize and appreciate and take care of the Earth every day, not just one day a year.
Right. So April 22nd is Earth Day, and this started in 1970. A senator from Wisconsin, in fact.
You're proud of that, aren't you?
I am very proud of that. He was like, hey, so there was a lot of things going on, especially in California. There was oil spills, and he just saw that there was a lot of pollution, and he decided to bring people together. And on that day, in 1970, there was a lot of protests. There was some just rallies, things like that.
So no different than today.
No.
Okay.
But the good thing is that it achieved what is called a political alignment, which is probably what we need now, but it enlisted support from Republicans and Democrats, rich and poor, city slickers, farmers, tycoons, labor leaders, and by the end of that year, the first Earth Day led to the creation of the Environmental Protection Agency, the passing of the Clean Air, Clean Water, and Endangered Species Acts, and so it was a good thing. And so that's why we observe it today.
So when it comes to the Earth Day, there's a lot of things. Used to be, I don't know if it's still this year, but they'd always say, turn all the lights off in your house for an hour at a certain time.
It's called Earth Hour.
Or Earth Hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's
yeah,
today.
that's still a thing, and I think they have them throughout the year. You can find more information.
Well, just turn your lights off when you're not in the room anyway.
Right.
I mean, that's just very simple.
Well, some people don't get that, but
right.
Anyway, so the reason Earth Day is kind of every day for Joey and I because of things that we do and we choose to do. But also, one thing that many people don't think about is how far your food actually travels. And I wanted to bring this up because as gardeners, this is part of the reason we garden. It's to eliminate the distance from food to plate or farm to table, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to call it. And the average American meal travels 1,500 miles.
So that's approximately, what is that, halfway from here, from Wisconsin, that's halfway to California? Is that about right?
Right.
Approximately?
Yeah. So
okay.
Maybe here our food
might travel. That's the average.
Average.
So that means when you figure averages, there can be 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 miles for certain items that you might have on your plate tonight. From Argentina, from Japan, from China, you fill in the blank. You can go to the grocery store and have a selection of fruit and produce, meats and everything else from anywhere in the world, any time you want it, any time of year you want it.
Right. So this long-distance, long-scale transportation of food, it consumes large quantities of fossil fuels.
And it's not healthy either, and we're going to talk to John Colder in a few minutes, where he talks about, we're going to ask him about why does he grow so many greens on his property.
Right.
But the traveling, you lose that nutrients. As soon as crops are harvested, regardless in your backyard or in a field in Southern California, the crop actually begins to rot. I mean, it's a disgusting thing to say, but it begins to break down because the plant and the fruit has been disconnected. There's no more nutrients going to that fruit or vegetable or that leafy green.
Right. So then that burning of fossil fuels then puts carbon dioxide emissions out into the air.
Now we don't drive a hybrid car, so let's not think we're better than anybody else.
But
we're conscious of
what we're conscious.
We see our steps before we make them and find out, is this a smart move to make? Can we go these 4 places and do that all in one full drive instead of doing 4 separate drives, 4 separate days?
Right. So then I wanted to, since this is being, we're talking about this, maybe obviously not everybody is like you and I, Joey, where we can grow and can a lot of our food. Maybe they have a smaller garden and they want to think about what they can do separately. And so that would be something like shopping at farmers markets.
We talked about this with Kyle last week on the host of Wisconsin Foodie. He was on last week, and he talked about that local food movement in which you can buy, and buy locally, and that's what we do. We can't grow broccoli or cauliflower for nothing.
Right.
So we, instead of using that spot for failure, we use that spot for success and grow something else, and we go buy our broccoli and cauliflower at the farmer's market that's fresh, that was harvested that morning.
Right. So there's options there. There's farmers markets, and there's CSAs, which are community supported agriculture.
And now, real quick, let's talk about CSAs, because this is something that many people have heard the term. It's like a GMO. They hear the initials, but they do not understand.
Or maybe
what
they
this
have a
is.
coworker that has a CSA, but they're like, I don't know what the heck that is.
Right.
So
A CSA.
CSA is community supported agriculture. So essentially, what you're doing is it's like a subscription for vegetables, or there's meat ones, there's egg ones, there's all sorts of things.
Milk, the whole deal. Yeah.
So what you're doing is at the beginning of the season, usually I think like in winter.
And I'm sure there's several of them around
Yeah.
the area. You can still probably buy subscriptions for summer and fall, that type. So it's
Right.
not like at a certain date it just shuts off. You can probably get a hold of them, and they'll be more than happy to help you. But
So most commonly it's vegetables,
Right.
or fruit or whatnot. So what you do is you get a subscription, which you pay for. I believe it's monthly or something, and then the farmer is going to promise you that you get X poundage of vegetables.
poundage,
Poundage.
not so many this or so many that. It's what they have available,
Right.
because they have complications just like everybody else. The tomatoes don't always ripen the right time. The asparagus is not always as big as you would like it to be. It's one of these things. It's nature.
But you're not going to end up with like 40 pounds of garlic.
No.
They give you a variety.
Right.
So then every month or every couple of weeks, depending on what your CSA agreement is, you go to a stop and you pick up your box of produce. And then that way you're supporting local farms. You're cutting down on your farm-to-table distance.
And it tastes so much better.
And it tastes so much better.
And you can
so
do
there's
this in
a lot of-
addition. You can
yeah.
do this in addition to having your garden, because we're a little different, Holly, and people who see our videos, we have a very large garden. We have 3 gardens. We mainly garden in 2 and help your sister garden in the 3rd. We grow a variety of different things. Not everybody. Some people may just focus strictly on tomatoes. Some people may strictly focus on cucumbers or beans. They don't have the space to have that variety, so they supplement that. Okay, I'm growing this, so I'm going to buy or subscribe to a CSA for X amount of other stuff. So that's
Right.
That's another thing to look at.
And plus, if you enjoy cooking, it could be something fun and an adventure for you. You might get something that you've never cooked before, and you can try it out.
Right. So, with that being said, we want to make you aware, because to some people it's just another day. To other people it means something, and to all of us we should at least be aware of what we're doing, recreational as well as business, and putting recycling is part of Earth Day.
Well, that and thinking about, okay, say you stop at the gas station or wherever every morning for your coffee. Think about what you're putting your coffee in, and then where that goes.
First of all, think how much money you're spending when you could have just made
Okay.
a pot at home. Just
not-
do the math,
Right.
first of all, and utilize that money.
This is not a financial lesson.
Okay,
here.
okay. Well, people
Okay.
don't think about this.
Right.
Okay?
Anyway, so you stop and you get your coffee and donut or whatnot. So now you have this coffee cup, which you're probably throwing away into the trash. And then where does that trash go? Many people don't think beyond that. They don't think about where their trash is going. Your trash doesn't just go away. If you're not sure about where your trash goes, just stop over at the waste management location over off of High 100 in Brown Deer, or 124th in Brown Deer, and you'll see it there. You'll see the landfills, and that will give you a good understanding. I'm sure there's other in the area as well. But you have to think about that. So something as simple as, and in water bottles too, a lot of people are now trying to become more environmentally conscious. Think about what you're doing in your home and in your lifestyle that you can make a difference
Is it
with.
more economically and environmentally friendly to purchase a investment of a water filter to attach to your faucets rather than buying X amount of bottles of water each week? And regardless if you're recycling the bottles or not, let's take that equation out. Just think of how much energy is endured in the production of that bottle and pumping the water out of the ground from who knows where in the country and shipping it to you, when a water filter, and there's some very good quality ones
Or
that you
just,
could use.
Just think about maybe one thing you can change every month or throughout the year. Maybe you start with a reusable water bottle. Maybe you start with a reusable coffee cup, reusable grocery bags, taking your lunch in a reusable container. Just things like that you can think about to help reduce your personal waste.
If you're in the Milwaukee or surrounding areas, just tune your radio to 860 AM or FM 106.5. You can also find links on our Facebook pages, The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener and Home Canning. Our website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, click on the radio tab at the top of the page, then click on the Listen Live button, and you'll have immediately access to our live program. Mobile devices work very well also. Go to your app store and download for free the TuneIn app or the Simple Radio app. Then search WNOV 860, save it to your favorites, and you can have access to our radio show live wherever you're at in the world. Our radio program will also have podcast replay under the radio tab several days following the live broadcast. You can find all of these links in the show notes below. Our show airs 9 to 10 a.m. Central Standard Time every Saturday, March through the end of October. And we want to thank our sponsors because without them, this would not be anywhere possible. You can find all of their links under the radio tab on our website at thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.
For more information, please visit thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com.